Test, 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 test. Testing, testing. Trying to get some audio here. Still connecting. Test, 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 test. Test. Alright, we got audio. Alright. So, let us get into Dave Strider and Jade Harley's things here. I'm a little late getting into Dave Strider's story because they changed how they're doing this compared to Friendsim. Friendsim, you actually got like the first volume for free, but then like all of the other chapters were DLC, so you could look and see, oh, the new DLC is up, and then you could spend like, I think it's like $2, get the DLC and get into it. This one, you buy the main game, like, outright, and, that's fine and all, but now, these are released just as updates, so you kind of have to, watch your updates and to see, when the new one comes out, and, you just kind of, like, have to hope, like, okay, they put up an update, does that mean it's out now, or have I downloaded it yet, or, yeah, whatever, I'm just complaining. Do like they added the chum roll. That's what I wanted in there. Befriended Dave. Okay. Befriend encrypted. Yeah, let's get back into it. Volume 3. A King's Feast of Ass. So I'm not going to read all of the text out loud. That would get... Holy crap, it's loud. I'm not going to read all the text out loud, that would get ridiculous, but if I'm going too fast, just, I don't know, pause the video or something. Let's be real. And no, I don't do voices or anything like that, so don't expect this to be that kind of a playthrough. The only cure for this disease called friendship is to mildly inconvenience a few teenagers. It's kind of weird seeing them in a bit more normal of a style instead of the typical, like, I almost want to call it chibi versions that you'd see in, like, the actual comic, where it's just, like, a huge head and, like, a body and, like, some janky GIF animations. Good point. Is like the world broiling right now or something? It's Cal. That doll becomes important, kind of. I don't think they planned it to become important at the beginning, but it ends up becoming important. Save the shower to clean it, I assume. Oh, bottom husk. Oh, that's neat. Got a Dirk Strider thing going on there. King's Feast of Ass, there it is. A bit of foreshadowing, he is 100% is a homosexual. They get into that later in the series, but this is still pretty early, so... Kind of weird that they're like getting into that like right away here. They didn't really like even... Or I guess it's been a while since I've read it. It didn't seem like they even like really hinted at his gayness this early. I could be wrong there. Ho is a gender neutral term. I like that. Although I don't think he ends up getting anything for John, though. I could just be misremembering. It's been years. Yeah, they're really getting into this a lot earlier than they did in the other thing, but in the canon, I guess I'll call it. It's not really good or bad, it's just a different tempo. All because you asked about your sweater being in the shower. Yep, sweatshirt in the shower. That is dope, dopey dope, dope, dope. That fridge is full of swords. Just so you know. Maybe I'll get into it. A little meta humor there. Oh, I don't know. Should I turn on the auto reader thing? Just because, I know I had it on for a bit back in the Friend Sim, but that was just running into problems because the way they typed or the way they talked ended up with like a bunch of weird characters in it. Which made it come out not sounding like really anything. Alright, let's give it a shot here. Where's Alright, we're on options. Did they get rid of that? Help. Self-voicing V. Okay, let's try that. Well, that's a shot, and then I'll hit V.
Self-voicing enabled. Obviously you are going to put the shirt on. You don't want to be the only one not wearing a cool shirt. Turntech Godhead, do you need some privacy? Turntech Godhead, I'm not sure where one layer of you ends and the other begins. Turntech Godhead, doubt the audience cares. What? Oh. You guess being on camera like this is kind of fucking whack, you say, so pointedly your sprite even shows up on screen for a second. Yeah. That's right. We went all out for this one.
Totally.
You were wondering if there was a place here that wasn't under constant surveillance, like how does this kid take a shit in peace? You know everyone's thinking it.
Is there a way to speed that up?
Options.
Auto forward time? What is
Auto
that?
forward time bar. Active. Close menu. You were wondering if there was a place here that wasn't Turntech Godhead, dope line of questioning that I'm sure the public at large is eager to know the answer to, but my room isn't wired up. No. Turntech Godhead, bout to get you fired up though. Turntech Godhead, menageries multiplying with me. Maybe not this second. Turntech Godhead, alright damn. You accompany Dave down the hallway to his room. You hear the shower on as you pass the bathroom, and you peek in to see your hoodie and nice gown on the tile being uselessly wetted by a low-pressure stream. Turntech Godhead, you're welcome BTW.
Turntech Godhead. Turntech
Dave
Godhead.
motions you to go in first, giving you the privacy you need to change into an extremely starched polo shirt and nothing else. This collar will not go down.
Oh yeah, Dirk. It's a Dirk Strider shirt. He's got like that whole anime pop collar thing going on. And hey, you've got oh, is this? No, this isn't the Midnight Crew. The Midnight Crew are the other dudes. These are they're from the intermission. I'm blanking on their names. Whatever.
This is absolutely what someone in 2009 would think is fresh as hell. You look around the room for a bit. There are so many things in here. This would be a 13-year-old's wet dream, but to you it just seems a little much. It feels like this is a bunch of things someone thinks they should like. Let the fan art reflect that you've put on the shirt at this point. There isn't a mirror in here, but you can tell that this is someone out there's idea of a look. The door opens and Dave is standing there, but not walking in. He's leaned up against the door frame sipping a juice. Where'd he get a juice? What the fuck? Turntech Godhead, hallway juice my guy. Hallway juice. Turntech Godhead, what, you don't keep foodstuffs stashed around your house? Turntech Godhead, what do you do when you get hungry? No, that's not it. You mean you usually just keep it in the fridge or whatever? Turntech Godhead, too obvious.
And the fridge is full of swords.
Turntech Godhead, somebody help this useless clown. You assure Dave that you have met many clowns in your day and only some of them were useless.
So, I had a roommate at one point where basically you could not put any food in the fridge because if you did, it would disappear. So we kind of got into me and the other roommate kind of got into the habit of just not keeping food in the house that that other one could steal. So whatever.
Turntech Godhead, name one. You can't. Why did you say that? Clowns are awful. Everybody knows this. Guess he's got you there. You know, despite the overwhelmingly plush decor of the rest of the house, there is a distinct lack of puppets in here. Turntech Godhead, that's more my brother's thing.
They actually said brothers there. That's weird. They can't pronounce fan art correctly. It's fun art to them.
Turntech Godhead, not that they aren't deliriously sick. Turntech Godhead, just a whole hospital ward full of the illest children you ever seen.
Illest.
Turntech Godhead, each one more up to pup than the last. Up to pup. Turntech Godhead, yeah pup. Turntech Godhead, like puppets. You're gonna be honest, it doesn't really seem like his heart's in it. Turntech Godhead, how do you mean? Well, it's just that he doesn't really seem to be all into the puppets. Feels a little performative. Turntech Godhead, well. Turntech Godhead, I guess I got my own stuff I'm into. Turntech Godhead, like if I were to rank it 1 to 10, I'd say puppets are probably a solid 7. You got this kid on the ropes. Just one more push.
Or one more plush.
In fact, you'd even go as far as to say the puppet thing sort of sucks. It is extremely weird. The cameras, the hiding things like an animal. It all seems a little, you know, whack. For a while he just seems to look at you, almost as if he's sizing you up. There is a long stretch where Dave doesn't break eye contact with you as he finishes his cute little juice and crumples it up. He takes an ambitious shot at the trash can and misses by about 7.5 feet. Turntech Godhead, damn, I coulda sworn I had game. Turntech Godhead, you're throwing me off, mailman. Yes. That is correct. You are a faithful employee of the Postal Service. Turntech Godhead, I mean, I definitely believe you, but let's say I didn't. Let's say I had a cool friend who. Turntech Godhead, even though they're too cool to care about details like this. Turntech Godhead, they were a little skeptical of this whole situation. Turntech Godhead, maybe they'd want some proof you were who you said you were. Turntech Godhead, before they let you get any closer to their friends. Turntech Godhead, just throwing that hypothetical out there. What proof could he possibly need? Turntech Godhead, say the oath. What? Turntech Godhead, the oath.
The oath.
Turntech Godhead, the male oath. Look, the thing about that is. Turntech Godhead, I mean, unless you aren't really a mailman. Behind his sunglasses, Dave's eyes shift ever so slightly to what you might describe in a less immediately harrowing situation as a moderately priced looking mall katana mounted to his wall.
What? Okay, so yeah.
You realize that maybe now isn't the best time to come clean about your impeccable ruse. You can't believe you have managed to put yourself in mortal peril yet again. You wordlessly chuckle and shake your head. Oh, the situations you get yourself into. Haha. Dave, not privy to your private thoughts for once, looks on. Why, of course you can recite the mailman oath, you say with a confidence that is as misplaced as it is unfounded. You perk up. Now is your time to shine. Maybe it's the popped collar, but you are feeling good about this one. You got this. You have lied to tons of kids. One more and it will be smooth sailing from here on out. You open your mouth and there is a brief moment where everything feels like it is going to be okay.
It's not going to be okay.
You immediately start sobbing and crumple into a disgusting mess on the floor. Turntech Godhead, Turntech Godhead,
Inflection
fuck.
there.
Turntech Godhead, allow okay. Turntech Godhead, Jesus Christ. You are no T, are al mailman univerware yo o you don't even have, a. REALLMMA Ilman outfit Urea F rad UUDD, et even no, how stamps xud.
What? Okay, I'm gonna have to leave this on. I just started turning on the self-voicing just because I was, I mean, sure, I can sit here and just, like, read it all, to myself and whatnot. Because, honestly, if I actually tried reading this all, my mouth would just dry up like a desert. And it would take a million years. But I'm actually kind of liking how this is reading the text terribly. It's kind of funny. So we're keeping it. And if, anyone here is...
You are no T, are al mailman univerware yo,
it's rereading
Turntech
it.
Godhead, oh my god. Turntech Godhead, Jesus just.
There should be a comma there. It should be Jesus, comma, just.
Turntech Godhead, okay. Turntech Godhead, it's Turntech Godhead, it's gonna be alright there Dave squats down next to your deflated body and pats you a little awkwardly on what he assumes is your shoulder. You say you're sorry you tricked him, you just wanted to impress him because John said he was so cool. Turntech Godhead, it's Turntech Godhead, it's fine I guess. Turntech Godhead, fuck dude. Turntech Godhead, get a hold of yourself. He tries to get up but you are desperately clinging to his shirt, confessing everything. Confessing to made up crimes you didn't even commit. Turntech Godhead, look. Turntech Godhead, my guy.
The aliens! I lied to all the alien children.
Turntech Godhead, we Turntech Godhead, we all make mistakes. Turntech Godhead, please stop whatever this is. Turntech Godhead, I'm pretty sure you are harmless.
But not blameless.
Turntech Godhead, and I don't think you actually killed anyone with your ass or were ever an accessory to burning down an alien mall or whatever insane shit you just said.
You did, in fact, kill someone with your ass. I forget who was that. Who was that? And was it a mall? I don't think you burned down a mall. I think you burned down... Did you burn down an art gallery? I forget.
Yeah, you kinda got caught up in the moment and just started saying made up shit. You ask Dave if he's mad at you. Turntech Godhead, nah dude. Turntech Godhead, get up. Dave helps you back up onto your feet. You come clean in an only slightly more controlled and dignified way this time. You explain how there are these huge gaps in your memory and that you somehow ended up with these abilities that let you traverse space, time, and sometimes even reality itself. Dave doesn't say much for a change and it doesn't seem like he's listening at first, but you think maybe he just has one of those faces. Turntech Godhead, let me get this straight. Turntech Godhead, one day you just appeared in a suburb. Turntech Godhead, no memories except that you have some mysterious teleportation power. Turntech Godhead, you dig through some unsuspecting chump's mail looking for clues. Turntech Godhead, and through some ridiculous universal happenstance you just so happen to stumble upon the most gullible fucking dork in the universe. Turntech Godhead, befriend him. Turntech Godhead, also I'm there via text. Turntech Godhead, Egbert gives you a list of friends to visit. Turntech Godhead, out of all the choices available to you myself included. Turntech Godhead, and you go see Rose first. Turntech Godhead, Rose fucking Lalonde.
Yeah, she was the only one that was released at the time, so, kind of narrowed the choices.
Turntech Godhead, even though we built up such a good rapport when I told John you weren't a real mailman.
Rapport, not rapport. Rapport, the T is silent.
Turntech Godhead, called it BTW. Turntech Godhead, your first instinct is to visit the most heavy-handed of all of us for some light kinship. Turntech Godhead, a power move I guess.
It's also the order that they introduced him in the original canon, original Homestuck.
Turntech Godhead, mailman out here wave dashing for friendship. Turntech Godhead, can't even spare a neutral for OL Strider huh. Turntech Godhead, won't even back into the corner and spam your ranged attack for the D-man. Turntech Godhead, a tragedy in 2 acts. Turntech Godhead, both acts are titled Betrayal. You definitely understand what is being said and absolutely don't have to ask your friends what some cool videos game words are. You are 100% not pulling the boldest how do you do, fellow kids the world has ever seen.
Video games words. Videos game words. There we go.
Besides, is that really the thing to be focusing on right now? Turntech Godhead, you fucking wound me mailman, of course it is. Turntech Godhead, nothing is more important to me than this. Turntech Godhead, they say that most humans only use 10% of their brain, that's because I'm using 90% of it to think, how dare you. Turntech Godhead, so anyway you can really go anywhere. Turntech Godhead, see anybody you want. Turntech Godhead, sounds nice. For all but a moment the act drops and you see the corners of his mouth tighten a little. The fading afternoon light filters through his sunglasses at just enough of an angle to see his eyes shift ever so slightly towards the window. These subtle movements would surely be lost on most. If you weren't so focused on trying to read him, or even just slightly further away, you may have missed it yourself. There was almost a loneliness in his voice. It must be hard to live here by yourself, so far away from the people who care about you. It's possible that you have been so focused on trying to blindly make friends that you've forgotten that in front of you is a real living person. You can't help but wonder if there is something you can do. Turntech Godhead, you said you can take people with you, right? Turntech Godhead, like if you could teleport John around. Turntech Godhead, would that work with anybody? This is it. The path to this kid's heart is clear as day. Fuck what you said just now. That friendship juice is so close you can practically fucking taste it. You try not to look excited, affecting Dave's cool persona as you say fuck yeah you can take people with you. You scope out your fingernails because for some reason that is what you do when you're acting cool. This works to the full extent it can, coming from someone who not but 7 minutes and 32 seconds earlier was rolling around on the floor, damp with their own tears. Did he have someplace in mind? Turntech Godhead, yeah. Turntech Godhead, I mean. Turntech Godhead, I got some ideas I could bounce off you I guess. Turntech Godhead, how do you feel about SHH? With a swift finger to his mouth you cut him off. He doesn't seem to like that very much, but you still consider it a successful maneuver. There's no need for words between friends. You know just where he wants to go.
Gonna take him to the wrong place.
Just think really hard about it. Think about where you want to be, Dave. Think about what is important to you. Think about what you really want. It will be more magical this way. Friendship is magic after all. You just made that up right now. Don't look it up.
Has nothing to do with ponies.
Turntech Godhead, damn guess that's true. He closes his eyes and you put a hand on his shoulder. This is it. Putting your trust in the magic of friendship, you focus this power externally as much as you are able. Flashes of distant but somehow familiar imagery course through you. The quiet stillness of the suburbs. The smell of the forest. The heat of an apartment rooftop. The ocean breeze. You extend it outwards as much as you are able. This is his rodeo. You are merely the vehicle.
The vehicle. Okay, where is this?
What the fuck? Turntech Godhead, oh fuck yes. The two of you stand near a sign that says please wait to be seated. A very cheery hostess has a brief exchange with Dave and ushers the two of you to an open table. Turntech Godhead, oh hell fucking yes. There is no mistaking it. Turntech Godhead, bout to get my motherfucking breadstick on.
Are they at Olive Garden? So, Andrew Hussey had some thing a while back where he, like, raised a bunch of money, to, take a elaborate trip to Olive Garden, and then he recounted the event, so I guess this is a reference to that.
This is absolutely an Olive Garden. Turntech Godhead, fuck yeah it is. Turntech Godhead, when you're here you're family dog. While you're still new to this, you can't really seem to detect any irony in his voice. You thought for sure he'd want to go see his friends. You thought you had him figured out. Turntech Godhead, first and last mistake mailman. Turntech Godhead, but you'll learn. Turntech Godhead, I'm a mystery. Turntech Godhead, got that history. Turntech Godhead, fucked with the plot, my flows so hot they leave you looking blistery. Turntech Godhead, racially ambiguous. Turntech Godhead, my rhymes contiguous. Turntech Godhead, at the og with my homie where the breadsticks are continuous. You know what, fuck it, you just let him go for a while. You don't even know if that last one rhymed, but fuck if you aren't charmed by this little bastard. You lean back in your chair and just absorb it all. Sitting in the worst restaurant imaginable with your new rapping teen friend while the other patrons do their best to ignore his incredible rhymes. After a short while Dave abruptly stops freestyling and you open your eyes. Turntech Godhead, oh fuck, you know what time it is. No. Your Sprite doesn't have a watch drawn on it. Turntech Godhead, it's breadstick 30, no watch necessary. Turntech Godhead, fuck me, I love breadsticks. Turntech Godhead, I never talk about it. Turntech Godhead, this is a very real and hidden character trait that nobody knows about me. Well, that sounds like a very real and hidden character trait that nobody knew about him.
Yeah, I don't think they actually brought up the whole whether or not he loved Olive Garden in Homestuck, but I could be wrong. I'd have to double check. But Homestuck is huge. That would be a lot to double check, so I'm not going to do that.
And we are certainly not finding this out now because of a series of seemingly unrelated events that possibly changed the continuity of this universe, allowing these sort of otherwise narratively unimportant traits to shine through. Wow, he is really going to town on those breadsticks. Maybe this is all friendship needs to be. Spending some quality face time with a solid bro and just absolutely decimating some bottomless breadsticks at a bad chain Italian restaurant. Maybe the real lesson here is friendship doesn't have to be a grand gesture or high adventure. Maybe the real friends. Turntech Godhead, I understand you are having a moment, but I am absolutely going to eat your breadsticks if you don't stop talking about what friendship means to you. Haha, yeah man, whatever you want.
So we got the breadstick ending.
Image GUI/type.
Yeah, whatever.
Loads, you put, don't wear the shirt. Actually, you think you're fine as is. No reason to shake it up with yet another outfit we'll have to eventually pay someone to draw. Let's take a second. Reel it in for a little bit. What the fuck is going on here? Isn't this like, really messed up? Turntech Godhead, know what's messed up? Turntech Godhead, is how you deny my hospitality like this. Turntech Godhead, I offer you someone else's property that you have to find hidden among countless lifeless puppet corpses. Turntech Godhead, and this is the thanks I get. Turntech Godhead, real cold mailman. Turntech Godhead, damn, maybe he'll wear the shirt to protect me from this chill. Ah. Enough. Okay. Like, why isn't he in school? It's the middle of April. Turntech Godhead, it's spring break bro. Turntech Godhead, besides I only subscribe to the School of Hard Knocks. Turntech Godhead, also several YouTube channels and periodicals. Turntech Godhead, so. Turntech Godhead, pretty sweet deal over here actually. You know he isn't really like this. You know he doesn't like living like this. Turntech Godhead, oh damn, is that true? Turntech Godhead, what am I like? Turntech Godhead, apparently we got the foremost expert in Dave lore here. Turntech Godhead, PhD in Strider Dynamics. Turntech Godhead, it's the first day of school and I'm here in class eager to learn. Turntech Godhead, got my pencil out, got my freshest fit on. Turntech Godhead, got my dope new Trapper Keeper with the Lisa Frank dolphins on it.
Who's Lisa Frank? Whatever.
Turntech Godhead, look at them on there smiling like assholes. Turntech Godhead, one blue one pink so we know it's not gay. Turntech Godhead, poor bastards don't know they're a cartoon. Turntech Godhead, saddest story I ever heard. The little camera switches its focus from Dave back to you, gauging your reaction. Ignoring it, you assert that you aren't trying to say you know him, just that. Turntech Godhead, that what? Okay, clearly you've struck some sort of nerve here but... Turntech Godhead, nah we're good. Turntech Godhead, tell me more about my situation. Turntech Godhead, you really have been spending time with Rose haven't you? Turntech Godhead, got me all figured out. Turntech Godhead, don't worry if you gotta look at the Wikipedia article for abandonment issues or whatever, I can wait.
Uh-oh.
Despite how flat his voice is coming out, his body language has made a telltale shift. He's standing leaned up against the back of the futon. His hands are in his pockets. It would almost seem like he was sulking if you weren't so convinced he wanted to kick your ass. At the edge of your vision you sense some movement. You didn't catch it exactly but you're convinced it was there. You look over there and there's nothing to be seen. Perhaps another hidden camera? There is something unsettling about being watched this whole time. There it is again. Every now and then your eyes catch the faintest presence of something moving just out of sight.
That puppet I brought up
The
earlier.
whole place feels like it's faintly shifting around. Amid scanning the room, a particularly fucked up looking puppet catches your attention. These little shits are everywhere, but this awful little man's stare stops your heart for just a moment. Its cold eyes pierce you. Its plastered smile judges you. You look at it as briefly as possible, if for no other reason than to note how unsettling it is before looking back to Dave. You. What the fuck? Turntech Godhead, what? Turntech Godhead, oh that's just Cal. Turntech Godhead, calories the realiest.
Calories the realiest. Calories the realiest. Okay, that should be the name of this chapter. Calories the realiest.
He certainly seems real to you. You could have sworn he just moved around on his own. Turntech Godhead, haha yeah man he does that. Turntech Godhead, don't think about it too hard. See? This is what you mean. Turntech Godhead, it's not that deep. Turntech Godhead, look I know you got some hero complex or something. Turntech Godhead, gonna swoop in and save these kids from themselves. Turntech Godhead, well bad news kid.
How can I reach these kids?
Turntech Godhead, that's not what this is and heroes aren't real. Turntech Godhead, John I understand but fooling Rose too. Turntech Godhead, the insane tricks this guy must have pulled. Dave has shifted his weight forward. While his voice has not risen above a low mumble, this is enough of a tell to know that maybe you should back off. This friendship thing is tougher than you thought. Turntech Godhead, you're still on about that huh? Turntech Godhead, look I'm no expert on friendship. Turntech Godhead, minus the fact that I absolutely am. Turntech Godhead, but you ever think maybe coming into someone's home and fucking with their day-to-day life is a little rude? Turntech Godhead, just a hypothetical. Turntech Godhead, As per normal, I'm stone cold unbothered by this turn of events. Turntech Godhead, a stoic bastion in TA, you're sorry but did he just say stoic? Turntech Godhead, what?
What?
Turntech Godhead, yeah. Turntech Godhead, stoic like unmoved. Does he mean stoic?
What?
Turntech Godhead, I mean.
What?
Turntech Godhead,
Stoic is,
I guess.
like a normal word.
Please. You've done it now. You weren't trying to embarrass him. Oh geez. You try and comfort him by saying that it's okay if he's never heard anybody say the word before. Maybe he's only seen it in text. He frowns and goes quiet.
Okay, I get what they're going
This
for.
does not seem to be helping.
He must have pronounced it stoic, like, you know, like a stoichiometry problem in chemistry instead of stoic, which is, you know, what he probably meant.
The kid is completely shut off now. You try and bring up the puppets again. No dice. You even pretend to be super jazzed about Cal or whatever its name was seemingly shadow stepping around the apartment. Wow. So cool. Nothing. Dave takes out his phone and begins texting. Ah. Is that about you? Oh beans, is he telling your new friends how much you beefed it? This could ruin everything. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And this is the most desperate time you can recall. A friendship is on the line. Cal continues to phase in and out like a poorly animated anime character moving so fast you can't keep up. You take a few steps towards Dave. You've got to get him out of here and you know just where to take him. About half a second into your stealth mission you clumsily step on a puppet and it makes pathetic squeak.
You gotta try to take him to the roof or something?
Dave stops for a second, but after a few moments returns to texting at the speed of sound to whoever is on the other end. Cheese and crackers, you can hear the notification sounds popping off. Whoever it is responding back. You can't waste any more time. You teleport to him as silently as you can. Besides you, Calories' disgusting limp body flops haphazardly on top of a shelf. Guess he's done. No time for this.
Yes, calories. Calories just keep popping in and out.
You slowly reach out your hand. Time to get out of here and fix this. A large adult hand grabs you by the wrist. You turn to see it belongs to a muscular man in pointy sunglasses who you wouldn't exactly describe as a twink, and not exactly a hunk, but most certainly not a bear either. In fact, why don't we talk about it for several HO shit? Before you can begin your extremely important debate, you are flung unceremoniously out of a high-rise apartment complex window. As you freefall, you think, maybe he was more of a twunk.
A twunk? That was a Dirk Strider, by the way. Well, interesting. Interesting how the self-voicing reads some of this stuff. Like
Image GUI/title_knowledge not found.
Thank you for that voice. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into
Volume
Jade
4,
Harley.
The Loneliest Girl in the World.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's been days and your stomach still hasn't recovered from Olive Garden, but you can't spend forever moping around. There are friends to make, damn it. Well, just one left in this set. Her name is Jade Harley, and though all three of your new pals consider themselves good friends with her, they know strikingly little about her life. The most you have gleaned is that she lives on a mysterious island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with her grandfather and some uncommon breed of dog. Their communication with her has been limited to internet messages, and packages sent to a P.O. box in some podunk town called Haunt Switch.
Haunt Switch sounds familiar from something. I don't know. Whatever.
John said he would message her and see if she could provide an address, but you don't want to wait. Throwing yourself headlong into friendship has always worked for you. So you close your eyes, think islandy thoughts, and hope it works.
Good enough.
But something strange happens as you channel your powers. A loud bark echoes somewhere in the distance, and nuclear green energy sparks in the air around you. You catch a split-second glimpse of a massive green sun, and then you hit the ground on your hands and knees. The whole event can't have taken more than a second or two.
Yeah, Jade's dog is like some super, like, high-tech nuclear dog. I don't really remember exactly what the story is, but it's a special dog. There we go. So this makes sense in context. Trust me.
You blink and focus your vision. You are inside a room. The floor is smooth and white, and disrupting the monotony in front of you are a set of similarly white paws, attached to a lusus you mean, an animal. You slowly stagger up and look him over. He is a very large and fluffy dog, his snout held up high. A long green tongue hangs from his open mouth as he pants lightly, and the air around him crackles with electricity, making the fur on his back stand on end. Something about him feels so familiar to you, familiar twice over. His fuzzy and regal form reminds you of a warmth you once knew, but those neon sparks fill your stomach with dread. At the very least he seems friendly. He leans in and drags his rough tongue along your cheek, leaving it tingling. His tail wags swiftly back and forth and he keeps nosing at you. He seems fascinated. Awoof.
Awoof. Aww. How did they get awoof? Well, I guess in some language, I think if you have two W's next to each other, maybe makes like an F sound. But I think it's like in Welsh, if you have two V's next to each other, they make a V or an F sound, which yeah, whatever.
Garden Gnostic, Beck. Down boy. It is this friendly demeanor of his that leaves you shocked when he moves aside, and you find yourself staring down the barrel of a rifle. It is held aloft by a bespectacled young lady in a sensible skirt who really has no business pointing such a big fucking gun at you. Garden Gnostic, okay, please don't panic and don't make any sudden moves. Garden Gnostic, I've never shot a living being before and it would make me very very sad if I had to start now. Oh, okay, so this is happening now. Is this Jade? She doesn't sound like Jade, based on what John told you. She looks more like a Gigi, anyway. Or maybe a Lynn. Right.
Well, she's got
the
little
gun.
Green eyes thing.
Don't get sidetracked.
It's Jade enough.
You slowly raise your hands in surrender and try to put on your most inoffensive expression. You tell her that if she started shooting living beings you would be pretty sad too, so why doesn't she put down the gun and Garden Gnostic, no way. Garden Gnostic, I don't want to shoot you but you are clearly a dangerous and unpredictable being and I need to make sure I stay safe. Garden Gnostic, my grandpa taught me a lot about gun safety and trigger discipline in case anything bad ever happened to me.
Well, she is practicing proper trigger discipline. She does not have her finger in the trigger right now, so... Although, now that I'm looking, it looks like she doesn't have a finger there at all. Although this hand should be further up. Wait a minute. She's got it on the wrong... well, I guess if she's left eye dominant, this is the proper shoulder. I mean, most guns, well, semi-automatic guns, they would eject the cartridge off to the left right there, so if she's holding it at that shoulder, it could be flying off that way, but it also kind of looks like you don't see the ejection part right there, so it must be on the other side, so it must be made for a lefty, but then her right hand would be, like, up there, but I guess they probably, like, trimmed off her finger there just because it would get in the way of the shot or something. I don't know. I'm not a huge gun nut or whatever. I have fired guns, but I'm not, not the gunniest, nuttiest person out there. But, yeah, weird. Weird, man. And also, this part is a little too short for this gun. It'd probably be a little bit bigger. You want it to be, a nice handle to hold on to. But, whatever. Getting on with it. I guess they wanted to move it over to this shoulder so you could see a bit more of her symbol right there. Or they could have just flipped the sprite over. But then I guess she would be shooting in the back of Beck's head. Well, they could just move back over to the other side. Whatever. Anyway.
Garden Gnostic, so I know that good trigger discipline means keeping your finger on the trigger at all times in case you need to blow something to bits.
Okay, never mind. She's not practicing good trigger discipline.
Oh fuck. Garden Gnostic, now let me make things clear to you. I'm a very clever girl and you won't be able to fool me as easily as you fooled the others. Garden Gnostic, it's very obvious to me what you've been doing and I knew you would eventually show up if I waited long enough. Garden Gnostic, sure enough John messaged me not too long ago to let me know you wanted to vist and so I prepared myself for your arrival.
Vist? He wants to vist. It really does, the voice really does show off the misspellings a bit more. Because it actually tries to pronounce them all.
Garden Gnostic, you've come to interfere with our lives and now I want to know why. Garden Gnostic, so you had better start talking, okay? Okay, you say. What does she want to talk about? You're well versed on a variety of eclectic subjects, so you can go on about basically anything. Wrestling, postmodern art, controversial opinions on traditional jurisprudence. But you get the feeling that this is an interrogation, and you really have no idea what she's interrogating you over. Garden Gnostic, that's very likely story. Garden Gnostic, I can put 2 and 2 together pretty easily, you know. Garden Gnostic, you've never shown up in any of my dreams before, and now none of those dreams are coming to pass. Garden Gnostic, not to mention that I don't even see Perspe when I go to sleep anymore.
Prospit was a world in the game world where they were going to go into, but now that you have messed up the timeline, she's not going there anymore. And she had did she have prophetic dreams? I don't remember her having them, but I guess she did. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, and also she falls asleep all the time. Although that gets explained a little bit later on.
Garden Gnostic, and that can only mean that you have derailed the forces of fate. Garden Gnostic, you destroy John's copy of Spurb and somehow that changed everything. Garden Gnostic, not only could John not begin the game, none of us could. And none of the meteors hit like they were supposed to. It was like the universe changed its very fabric to bend to your evil whims. Whoa, evil. That's a little harsh. You'll cop to stupid, but evil is way too much. Garden Gnostic, don't play dumb with me. Garden Gnostic, what else could motivate you to stop us from fulfilling our destiny as heroes? Heroes. John and friends are very nice, but they don't exactly strike you as heroes. Garden Gnostic, that's because you don't know them like I know them. You haven't seen the shrines on Perspe or heard stories from the Queen or seen them in the clouds growing into brave and wonderful people. Garden Gnostic, and now I'm beginning to suspect that those things will never come to pass. Garden Gnostic, John's birthday came and passed without any fanfare, except for him supposedly befriending a strange mailman. Garden Gnostic, and that day the internet was full of people complaining that their beta copies of Spurb weren't working, and there was a huge scandal with the company. Garden Gnostic, a little while later, I found out that this mailman was talking with Rose and had magical powers. Garden Gnostic, I know a thing or two about magical powers, or at least powers which seem to be magical to those who haven't studied their logical sources. Garden Gnostic, but yours are totally different from anything I've seen. Garden Gnostic, at first I thought you must be an advanced Dursite agent come to sabotage us.
Durs and Prospit are competing planets in the game world.
Garden Gnostic, but you definitely aren't from Durs. Garden Gnostic, maybe a Perspitan double agent? Garden Gnostic, I also considered the weird trolls who keep pestering me. Garden Gnostic, but they've been weirdly quiet lately and you don't really give me that vibe. Garden Gnostic, and obviously you are not a human. Whoa, hang on. You are a human. Right? She tilts her head and gives you a little really kind of look, and your stomach twists into knots. Garden Gnostic, the more I look at you the more I start to think you're like. Garden Gnostic, how do I explain this? Garden Gnostic, okay, do you know what a furry is? Wow, okay. That question is more loaded than her gun. Garden Gnostic, alright. So a lot of artists I follow do YCH commissions and you remind me of one of those. Garden Gnostic, does that make sense?
YCH, what does that mean? I'm guessing the Y stands for YIF? I don't know, I don't follow the whole furry thing, but whatever.
You have no idea what a YCH is. You cautiously ask her.
Okay, she's gonna tell you.
Garden Gnostic, it stands for your character here.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Garden Gnostic, basically, an artist will draw a pose or scenario, but instead of putting in an actual character they will leave a blank outline, like a mannequin. Garden Gnostic, you pay them to put your own character there. Garden Gnostic, and when I look at you I feel like I'm looking at one of those blank spaces. Garden Gnostic, my intuition doesn't tell me anything about you and you've never showed up in my dreams, you're like my best friend Beck over here. Garden Gnostic, a complete wild card, something I can't figure out. Garden Gnostic, which brings me back to my point. She had almost let her gun drop, and you had almost forgotten she was holding it, but she hefts it back up to point at you and steals her gaze. Garden Gnostic, you are going to tell me why you came here and did what you did. Garden Gnostic, and then you're going to help fix it. That rifle is really starting to bother you. Save. That rifle is really starting to bother you.
Oh, the voices are humorous. So, I think they bring up the whole
that rifle thing. Is really starting to bother you.
Furry thing. She, can't say she becomes a furry as you know it. I guess I'm not gonna go through and explain the whole grim bark phenomenon, but whatever. Let's get on with it.
Get that gun away from her. You can't let a good opportunity slip between your fingers again. You need to disarm her before she accidentally blows you to smithereens.
It didn't read.
There must be something else that will get her guard down. You ask about her grandfather, the one who taught her about guns. He must surely be a reasonable and mature man. Perhaps it might be best to bring him into the discussion. You could sit down. Have tea. Drop the gun. Garden Gnostic, I don't know. Garden Gnostic, Grandpa does love his tea time with guests, but Garden Gnostic, usually conversations with him are really one-sided. Backslash.
This is a colon backslash. Anyway, so her grandfather's actually dead and taxidermied, so that's who has kind of been raising her, I guess. Does that make sense? It doesn't, but whatever.
Oh. Is he that stubborn? Garden Gnostic, well yes. He's a pretty obstinate man and a total blowhard. Garden Gnostic, but as well, you may find him difficult to talk to on account of the fact that, Garden Gnostic, he is also a stuffed corpse? Oh cool, yeah, that's cool, that checks out. This is fine, everything's fine. You love guest starring in a goddamn Hitchcock movie. This girl is clearly too unstable to be reasoned with. You need to disarm her, and pronto. You steer the topic away from the grandfather she surely murdered and wait for another lull in the conversation. When her eyes start to wander and her grip slackens, you spring forward and reach for the rifle.
And get shot.
She shrieks and goes for the trigger, but before she can fire, an ear-splitting bark rings in your ears and the world explodes into neon green. You feel weightless and empty, cocooned in bitter cold. For half a second, you think you just got Avada Kedavra, but then you glance around and see the stars. An iridescent light show twinkling all around you, painting the vast expanse with beaded glimmers.
Avada Kedavra. That is amazing.
It is transcendent. It is beautiful. You are at peace.
What was that other one? The calories are the realiest? That was it.
Or maybe that's just the asphyxiation talking.
You're in space.
Image go eat. Load. Look. Stay calm and explain yourself. Alright.
Oh, that's boring.
Pretty much everyone except John has called you on your bullshit thus far, so you may as well give her the full confession. You absolutely did change the course of reality, but it was the result of a genuine fuck-up, not ill intent.
You Avada Kedavra-ed the copy of Spurb.
It's kind of a long story, but you relate it as best as you can. Your strange lack of memory, an encounter with a bizarre and magical artifact, the way you blundered into John's life and destroyed his mail as a result of your highly relatable social anxiety. The girl listens intently as you explain what brought you here, and then you offer an apology. You think that you have irreversibly altered the very fabric that threads her cosmos together. There's probably no way of putting things back like they were and letting this lady go on her golden dream quest, or whatever she was blathering about while you were distracted by her very deadly gun. Garden Gnostic, okay. Garden Gnostic, you sound very sincere, and I'd like to believe you. Garden Gnostic, so I'll take you at your word for now. Whatever shenanigans you involved yourself in, I trust that you did not intend to cause any problems. Garden Gnostic, let's put all this ugly business behind us. The girl holsters her rifle and you breathe a long sigh of relief. Garden Gnostic, sorry about all that, I promise I only had the best intentions. It's cool, you tell her. You get the distinct feeling you've dealt with much worse. Garden Gnostic, yeah, I'd imagine a space hopper like you has been to all sorts of cool and dangerous places. Garden Gnostic, I'm kind of jealous really. Garden Gnostic, but anyway we never properly introduced ourselves. Garden Gnostic, my name is Jade and my dog's name is Becquerel. What's yours? Huh. You know, you think this is the first time you have ever been asked for your name? Ever? You almost forgot you had one. You tell Jade your name. Garden Gnostic.
Oh, really?
Garden Gnostic, that's a very unique sounding name. I like it.
What is it? Who knows? It is a blank space. It is a YCH, your character, your name.
You tell Jade that you like her name too and she beams at you. Garden Gnostic, thank you. I'm so glad my grandpa gave me this name, it's so pretty and fairly unique and just very likable he he he. Garden Gnostic, anyway why don't I show you around? I can give you a tour of the house and we can get to know each other a little better. Oh, that sounds great. You're an expert on taking tours of other people's houses. Which makes sense, since you don't exactly have your own house. Jade stares sadly at you. Garden Gnostic, I'm very sorry to hear that D. No, it's cool. You have magic now so the trade-off is probably pretty fair. Garden Gnostic, right, well this is of course my room. Garden Gnostic, as you can see I have a ton of pretty posters. This is my favorite, it was a gift from Dave and I love it to pieces even though it's honestly pretty dumb looking. But that's the point hee hee. She gestures to a poster of Dave's webcomic guys with animal attributes scribbled onto them.
Okay, I guess this one.
Most of the other posters also feature anthropomorphic fauna, drawn with significant more finesse. It all gives you a very furry vibe. But not in a bad way, you clarify. Her lips twitch in irritation, and it occurs to you that people are probably constantly either clowning on her for liking furry stuff or reassuring her that they aren't about to clown on her for liking furry stuff.
Furries!
Garden Gnostic, well, I don't actually dress up in suits or any of that nonsense. Garden Gnostic, but I really love animals. And I think it is fun to imagine what it would be like to be one. Garden Gnostic, which is why I own so many animal toys. Like the Manthro chaps, who are very silly but dignified fellows who are part animal and part Victorian-era Gentleseer.
Gentleseer? Gentle sir?
Jade gestures to a pile in the corner, heaped high with plus-highs and dolls of all sorts. Many of them look like man-slash-animal abominations with curly mustaches, and others feature bright and puffy squid-like creatures.
Plus highs? Okay. That's a way you could read that.
Garden Gnostic, oh. And these are my squiddles, they are based off of a cartoon show.
They have like magnets in them so they stick together.
Garden Gnostic, Rose says it's a bad show but I don't believe her. Jade fishes through the toy pile and retrieves a dark bluish black toy. Garden Gnostic, this one is Inkabelle, she's my favorite. Garden Gnostic, in one episode she gets lost in the murky brine swallows and spends years completely alone, lost without any of her friends. Garden Gnostic, but in the end her friend Podlight tracks her down and saves her. Garden Gnostic, it seemed so bleak the first time I watched it that I literally cried, but I realized in the end that it was a very poignant tale. Jade smiles wistfully down at the plushie in her hand. She glances from it to another one of the Squiddle dolls and her expression tightens. She squeezes the doll just a little too hard, causing a horrendous pitchy squeak. Garden Gnostic, I guess in retrospect that was pretty silly though. Hee hee. I mean it was just a kids show. Garden Gnostic, of course there was going to be a happy ending. That's how those always work, right? Jade's still smiling as she tosses the doll onto her bed, but she puts so much force into the throw that it goes careening off the edge with a wheeze. You hear it plop onto the floor and magnetize itself to another squiddle. Its voice box lets out a weak little yay. Jade stands up and brushes off her skirt. Her eyes fall to her bedspread, which features a striking cloud design. She sighs slowly, and then assumes a bright smile once more. Garden Gnostic, anyway let's go explore the rest of the house, shall we? I've got so much to show you. Jade hikes up her skirt and skitters down the spiral staircase, 2 steps at a time. You're a little interested in the high-tech devices laying on a workbench near her bed, and a glowing green crystal that you think is literally uranium? But Jade's already gone, so you tear your eyes away and follow. The landing below her room is small and cylindrical, and features only a gray closet-looking device and a platform on the floor. Garden Gnostic, my room is at the top of a tower, but this transportalizer will take us to the garden quick and easy. She hops on and disappears in a flash of green light. You're a little nonplussed, but you've seen weirder. You step onto the platform, hear a light click beneath your feet, and in an instant you're standing in a lush garden atrium.
Now if I remember right, she has a bunch of pumpkins in here.
There are exotic plants as far as the eye can see, ranging from psychedelic floral arrangements to tropical fronds to fruits and vegetables. Tall windows blanket the walls and allow sunlight to stream in, and said windows are coated in a steamy mist. You feel like you just got clotheslined by a rainforest. Garden Gnostic, it's beautiful, right? Jade opens her arms and spins around, gesturing to her various gardening stations. You nod. It really is. Garden Gnostic, gardening is another one of my favorite hobbies. It's a great way to get your hands dirty and do some real work. Garden Gnostic, and the end result is really vibrant and beautiful. Jade waves her rough and calloused hands at you, and then strokes her fingers along the pinkish petal of an anemone and hums a little tune toward it. One of its leaves seems to curl toward her touch. When Jade pulls away, she skips toward one of the windows, and motions for you to follow her. It's a beautiful island vista that awaits your gaze. To your left is a towering mountain that might just be a volcano, and ahead of you is a small bay filled with giant lily pads and an old, mossy temple. Beyond the island, the sea stretches out to a shimmering horizon. Past that boundary line an entire world awaits, ever out of reach. Garden Gnostic, this is my home. This entire island belongs to just me, Beck, and my grandpa. Garden Gnostic, it's a very peaceful place. The greenery is so lovely and the bay is very fun to take a dip in. Garden Gnostic, there's some mysterious ruins down there too. I've always been very curious about them, but Beck won't let me visit them. I guess he thinks they're too dangerous. Garden Gnostic, Grandpa's been in there plenty of times before, though. Could her grandfather give her a supervised tour? Garden Gnostic, oh, Grandpa doesn't really move much anymore. Garden Gnostic, he spends all his time having tea parties in the foyer, LOL.
I believe that's pronounced foyer, but whatever. Or maybe foyer. I think it's one of those weird words where it was like originally pronounced foyer, but then, it just got bastardized.
He's quite old, then. Garden Gnostic, you could say that. Jade wanders away from that window and toward another one, whose view is exclusively centered on the rolling blue. She presses a hand against the misty pane and sighs. Garden Gnostic, Dave talks a lot about coming to visit me here. I mean, all of my friends do, but Dave especially. Garden Gnostic, in his usual Dave way of course, which means making lots of jokes and not sounding very serious about it. Garden Gnostic, yeah, I'm itching to put on my safari hat and come traipsing down to Doom Death Archipelago to get my ass murdered by Infinidog the Eldritch Retriever, stuff like that. Garden Gnostic, I know he really means it though. He wants to see me, just like I want to see him. Garden Gnostic, but it's just
not
wishful thinking.
Not as much as he wants to see a big bowl of breadsticks. So how's that?
Garden Gnostic, he doesn't know where this island is. Garden Gnostic, even I don't know where it is. Garden Gnostic, all deliveries here go through some company PO box my grandpa set up before he died, and it's not marked on any maps. Garden Gnostic, because this is a special island with all kinds of important secrets on it, I guess? Garden Gnostic, or, it was special. Garden Gnostic, I was special.
Emphasis on the was there. It was special, I was special.
Garden Gnostic, but not anymore. Now I'm just a regular girl stuck alone on this dumb island for the rest of my stupid life. Whoa. You ask Jade if she's feeling alright. Garden Gnostic, yes. I'm totally fine. Just peachy, thanks for asking. Garden Gnostic, come on, let's keep up with the tour, there's no time for dilly-dallying. Garden Gnostic, my grandpa's collection rooms are up next. Garden Gnostic, the first one is full of his big game hunting trophies. Garden Gnostic, I'd never shoot an innocent animal, and I think the trophies are pretty hideous. Garden Gnostic, but I do have to admire his great work stuffing them, I guess. It is really hard to properly stuff and mount something, trust me.
Oh yeah, didn't she have to mount and stuff the grandpa? I mean, stuff, don't read into that.
Garden Gnostic, and he has some cooler stuff on the lower floors, like all these badass knight statues. Garden Gnostic, or these, faded blue portraits of pretty ladies. Garden Gnostic, okay, I'm going to be honest, most of Grandpa's collection stinks. Garden Gnostic, but I think what is important is what it all represents to him. Garden Gnostic, he's been on all sorts of incredible amazing adventures and he has this huge array of interesting things to show for it. You tell Jade that her grandfather sounds like a hell of a guy. Garden Gnostic, he sure is. Garden Gnostic, back when I was little he used to go on trips all over the world, and come back with so many interesting stories and new souvenirs. Garden Gnostic, I was so odd, and I guess a little jealous too. Garden Gnostic, sometimes he would be gone for days or even weeks at a time and it would just be me and Beck holding down the fort. Garden Gnostic, I was always so happy when he came back, and I listened to his tales without making a single peep. Garden Gnostic, but Garden Gnostic, he never asked me if I wanted to come along for an adventure, no matter how obvious it was that I did. Garden Gnostic, I guess that's just the way of life for adventuring folk. There's no time to be tied down, even by the people you love. They can stay at home and wait for you to come back. Garden Gnostic, that's how it was for my grandpa, at least. What about you? Garden Gnostic, you're an adventurer too. You've visited all my friends and you've surely been to other awesome spots around the globe. Garden Gnostic, so, I bet you've left someone waiting for you too, haven't you? Frost floods your veins and nestles into your heart with a burning chill, for reasons that you don't quite understand. Jade tilts her head and bores into you with wide, curious eyes. One of her hands is balled up into a fist and both of them are trembling as she watches you. Geez. You're gonna have to coach another kid through parental issues, aren't you? You swallow down your sudden anxiety, force a smile, and remind Jade that you're suffering amnesia. Garden Gnostic, oh, right. Well, it's just this feeling I get, you know. I have great intuition. When she smiles, the corner of her mouth twitches. It's now or never. Would she like to talk? Garden Gnostic, I said I'm fine. There's nothing to talk about. Garden Gnostic, unless you want to talk about, Garden Gnostic, some of these flowers. Isn't this one such a lovely yellow? Surely there's nothing wrong with a good old feelings jam, right? Jade's an expressive, empathetic girl. Feelings jams should be her thing. You think that, but she's still steadfastly ignoring you. Garden Gnostic, hey, how about this orange with a goofy face on it? Why don't we boggle at it for a while? Jade, something's wrong. You need to talk this out. That's what you do, you're a talker. So why don't you too? Garden Gnostic, oh my god, just shut up. Please just shut your stupid fucking mouth. Garden Gnostic, of course something is wrong and that something is you. There is a long pause. Jade stands there, her eyes wide, shocked at her own outburst. She wipes a tear from her cheek, takes a shaky gulp, and then sprints back up the stairs. Oof. That didn't work. You stand there for a while feeling like a tender, AAA grade jackass steak with baked tushabag potatoes on the side. Then you sigh and steel yourself, and make the trek back up to her room. Jade is nowhere to be seen. Beck is pawing clumsily at a large, suspiciously jade-shaped lump beneath the covers of her bed. You clear your throat and ask her, softly, if she wants to talk. It's cool, you say. You listen to teen drama all the time, and this is some particularly choice drama. Not that you like the drama, you clarify. You just kind of exist in the periphery of it constantly. You are a drama magnet. There's a long pause, and you're about to turn and leave when she pulls the covers off and turns to you. Her eyes are all puffy and red. Garden Gnostic, hey. Hey. Garden Gnostic, I'm sorry I yelled at you. Garden Gnostic, it's not really your fault, I mean it kind of is, but you didn't know you were messing anything up. Garden Gnostic, it's not fair for me to be pissed at you. Garden Gnostic, it's just, none of this is fair at all. Yeah, that sounds like life alright. You sit down on the bed and tell her to vent about it. It's okay, you can take it. Garden Gnostic, okay. Garden Gnostic, have you ever spent your whole life waiting for something to happen and then, it didn't? Well, your memory is pretty fuzzy right now, so you can't say you have. But you think you understand a similar sense of yearning. Good God, have you yearned? Garden Gnostic, yearning is a good word for it yet. Garden Gnostic, let me try and explain. When I went to sleep I would see this beautiful golden kingdom called Perspe, and hang out with the people there. Garden Gnostic, I'd wake up with these fuzzy half-remembered feelings of happiness, and visions of the future swirling around in my head. Garden Gnostic, it was nice, it was a good life. Garden Gnostic, but there was this very lonely feeling that I couldn't make go away no matter what I did. Garden Gnostic, I would always tell myself soon Jade. Soon it'll all change. Garden Gnostic, you will get to travel to Perspe in your waking hours, you'll meet your friends in person, you will finally begin to live, like really live.
Really live. I mean, live, but yeah, whatever. Way back in the day, there was a popular band called Live, but if you just see the name written down, it's like, okay, is this band called Live or Live? I can't really tell.
Garden Gnostic, I waited days, months, years for the day to finally arrive, and then, it never came. Garden Gnostic, I was so sure that it would come on John's birthday, all of my dreams told me so, all the signs were there, but it just didn't happen. Garden Gnostic, and now I don't know what to do with myself. Garden Gnostic, I was able to ignore the lonely feeling because I knew that it would disappear one day, but now that day has slipped me by, and it's like, Garden Gnostic, it's like all those years are catching up and crashing down on me at once, and I feel so small and helpless and sad, like the loneliest girl in the world.
So, is this kind of how they are trying to retcon out how the original comic didn't happen in this universe to kind of make way for the Hive Swap, the adventure game that they're still working on Act 2 of, I assume? It seems like it kind of makes sense.
Garden Gnostic, I don't want to put this all on you, that wouldn't be very nice, but it's just. Garden Gnostic, it's not. Garden Gnostic, it's not fair. Jade vaults from the bed and stamps her foot on the ground, hard. Her face is flushed and streaked with tears and snot. She looks awful, frankly, like someone who's been holding it all in for far too long. Beck gets up and starts licking at her cheeks, and she holds him off until she can wipe her face on her sleeve. Garden Gnostic, thanks Beck. Garden Gnostic, at least I've got you for a best friend, right? Jade settles back onto the bed, stroking Beck's fur softly. Garden Gnostic, I have a lot of complicated feelings about all this, I guess. Garden Gnostic, so complicated and painful that I'd rather just pretend everything is okay. Garden Gnostic, but now I can't pretend anymore, and these feelings are all that's left. Garden Gnostic, and I hate feeling so glum. I hate sitting around being all sad and useless. Garden Gnostic, it's stupid and pointless and a waste of my fucking energy, and it's not who I am. Garden Gnostic, and I'm just dumping it all on you, haha. Garden Gnostic, I'm sorry, I really am. Man, you just completely fucked up this girl's life, and she's apologizing to you. Now you feel like the delicious 3-layered shithead tiramisu served after that nice meal of steak and potatoes you had earlier. You really want to help Jade. And while you still don't quite get all of this magical moon stuff she's been talking about, you do get how it feels to be lonely. That's something you can help with. You offer her your hand. Want to go see the world? She sniffles and lightly shakes her head. Garden Gnostic, it's not going to work. Well, there's no way to know that unless you give it a try, right? She nods, stands up, and takes your hand. You focus on a familiar destination, John's house. But as you begin to dematerialize, Beck turns to stare at you, and you hear that familiar barking sound in your ears. And when the flash of light subsides, you're standing here in Jade's room, only a few feet from where you started. What?
Pesterquest has stopped working, but it's still working, so... Huh? Oh, come on. Ugh, jeez. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to start this back up. Hold on. Hello. Hello. Hopefully this is gonna start back up, and hopefully if I back up, hold on. If I did it fast enough, it should, all still be, in the same
Load slot.
or whatever.
Stay calm and explain
we're
all right.
Back here.
Garden Gnostic, but I really love animal. Garden Gnostic, Garden Gnostic, Garden Gnostic. Jade gestures to a pile. Jade gestures to a pile in the corner. Heaped. Jade. Garden Gnostic, Garden Gnostic.
Oh, come on.
And enter. Advances dialogue and
Control
activates the interface. Space. Advances dialogue without selecting choices. Arrow keys. Navigate the interface. Escape. Accesses the game menu. Control. Skips dialogue while held down. Tab. Toggles.
Oh, okay. Tab.
Garden Gnostic. Garden Gnostic. Garden Gnostic. Garden Gnostic. Garden Gnostic. Garden.
Oh, okay. Will you get back from the garden? She has her spaz out. We must have been getting close to the next selection thing.
There. Then you. There. Garden Gnostic. Yeah. Garden. Well, your memory is pretty fuzzy right now, so you can't say you have. But you. Garden Gnostic. Yearning is a good word. It's been days and your stomach still hasn't recovered from Olive Garden, but you can't spend forever moping around. There are friends to make, damn it. Well, just one left in this set. Her name is Jade Harley, and though all three Garden Gnostic, let me try and explain. When I went to sleep I would see this beautiful golden kingdom called Perspe, and hang out with the people there. Garden Gnostic, I'd wake up with these fuzzy half-remembered feelings of happiness, and visions of the future swirling around in my head. Garden Gnostic, it was nice, it was a good life. Garden Gnostic, but there was this very lonely feeling that I couldn't make go away no matter what I did. Garden Gnostic, I would always tell my Garden Gnostic, you will get to travel to Perspe in your way. Garden Gnostic, I waited days. Garden Gnostic, Garden, Jade vaults from the bed and stamps her foot on the ground, hard. Beck gets up and Jade, man, and you all, she's, Garden, well. You focus on a familiar desk, Garden Gnostic, see. Garden Gnostic, come on, let me show you something. Jade hops up and shuffles down the staircase, and you follow. She takes you to the teleportation pad in the atrium. Garden Gnostic, these transportalizers are all powered by thermal energy and use each other as beacons for the sake of easy short-range teleportation. Garden Gnostic, but if you hook one of them up to a uranium converter and modify the coordinates specified on the logic board, you can theoretically go anywhere in the world. Garden Gnostic, which I tried, see. She twists the top of the pad with her fingertips and pulls it off, and shows you the wiring underneath. It looks messy, like someone has made multiple attempts to rewire the circuits. Garden Gnostic, but when I used it, it only led to the exact same thing that happened just now. Beck used his powers to prevent me from leaving the island. Garden Gnostic, maybe I got the coordinates wrong and I would have ended up stuck underground or something, but I checked and double-checked my measurements. Garden Gnostic, I think Beck just doesn't want me to leave the island, he wants me to stay somewhere he can keep me safe at all times. Perhaps he heard his name from above, or perhaps he just has a sixth sense about it, because Beck wanders down the staircase and over to Jade. She gives him a soft stroke behind the ear. Garden Gnostic, I love him very much, but as long as he's around I'm stuck here, and because of the changes you made that is how it will always be. Garden Gnostic, I'm just going to have to get used to it, I guess. Jade deflates against one of her gardening tables and offers you a wan smile. For a split second you could swear you see droopy doggy ears and a tail tucked between her legs.
A wan smile?
Depression to this degree simply is not conducive to friendship, and even if it was, you would still feel pretty shitty about it. You should do something to cheer her up. You should do something to cheer her up.
Well, let's save her eyes right here.
Close. You should do.
Yeah!
Challenge Beck for superiority. It seems to you that the cause of Jade's problems, even though he's probably not hurting her on purpose, is Becquerel. He's a good dog, and he wants to protect her, but the time for that has passed. Jade has a new omnipotent friend in her life, and she's got places to be besides this island. There's only one thing for you to do. You need to establish yourself as the new alpha of the pack. You must win the right to escort Jade to visit her friends. This is how dogs work, right? Yeah, it is. It definitely is. You think. You square up, bend your knees, and tense your palms. Garden Gnostic, what are you doing? Don't you worry about it, you tell Jade. You're practically an expert in Lucis wrangling techniques by now. In what techniques? She shouts behind you, but you're already charging. Beck doesn't see it coming at all, perhaps because it's such a spectacularly stupid thing to do. You go tumbling to the ground with him, and manage to pin him. You know exactly what to do now. There is only one possible course of action, and it has been inculcated with such mimetic gravity that you are entirely certain it will work as intended. Punch Beck in the snout to establish superiority.
Totally gonna work. The only option you have, because it's the only option you need.
You punch Beck in the snout to establish superiority, and immediately realize it's not working as intended. He snarls and flares up neon green, energy crackling around his body. You wince as heat washes over you as if you just opened an oven door, and your arm hairs stand stiff in electric terror. What were you thinking? This is a fight you can't win. Beck lunges at you and sinks his fangs into you. You yelp, pain splitting your sight, radioactive fire roaring up your arm. You yank yourself away and instinctively try to teleport, but as you disappear, Beck's teeth catch your shoulder and hold on tight. Image BG, get me out of here, not found. The two of you go hurtling through the nothingness and you're pretty sure you've left blood spatters on some meta-narrative construct, like a website scrollbar or the RenPy debug screen or some shit.
Nice. So it's not even a misprogramming there.
Eventually you come exploding back into cannon and bounce off a purple spire with an ungainly smack, dislodging Beck in the process. You tumble onto a bridge and scatter some dudes in goofy jester outfits, and Beck lands in front of you. Good boy. Can we call it even here?
No.
He snarls, and green flames crack the stone beneath his feet. So much for that. You throw up your arms in front of your face and squeeze your eyes shut as Beck lunges again. But you don't feel the sting of his fangs against your flesh. Instead, you feel the singularly odd sensation of your body passing right through Beck's, as though you have just had a window thrown at you. Like a reverse defenestration. Refenestration. Unfenestration. The world beyond your eyelids strobes green, and when you open your eyes you find yourself staring into a massive, verdant sun. You think that when Beck went in for the kill, you must have phased through him as his powers surged. It was pure dumb luck. You can't imagine what kind of precise timing it would take to pull that off on purpose. The good news is that you're alive, but the blood loss is really doing a number on you and you can't focus your powers. Your vision flickers at the edges, and there's a ringing in your ears louder than the flickering flames of the sun. You only just barely hear a voice from behind you as your eyes glaze over. Twin Armageddons, WH0S the Stusha bag.
Twin Armageddons. Oh yeah, that is Heradia.
Apocalypse Arisen, Solux, be nice. This Stusha bag looks very injured.
No wait, Twin Armageddons is Solux. Apocalypse Arisen is Heradia. That's right.
Apocalypse Arisen, I think they're going to have to restart and try again. Apocalypse Arisen, better luck next time. 0U0.
Okay. Yep, there they are. Damn. So this looks like it's from a pretty later on in the Homestuck canon, which is weird because this is a lot later than this fight would have been taking place, so he must have gone through time also, which is weird. Which is very Homestuck. So.
You explore.
Explore.
You present your most finely honed smile of confidence and urge Jade to stand. This is no time to mope around. There is plenty of fun to be found without leaving this island. You suggest that perhaps with your help, you can give her the opportunity to explore that temple she's always been curious about. Garden Gnostic, really? That would be super fun. Garden Gnostic, but what about Beck? Oh, there's nothing to worry about there. You have a genius plan. You tell her to just head on over to the temple, and you'll take care of the rest. Garden Gnostic, okay, if you say so. But please don't do anything to hurt Beck, okay? I love him to bits. You wouldn't dream of it? Not on this route, at least.
Yeah, we tried that, didn't work out.
Jade transportalizes downward and you turn your attention to Beck, who is idly sniffing one of Jade's plants. You advance on him slowly, and with intent. You know what must be done. You know what must be done. You pet the dog.
It's the only option we have.
You know what must pet the dog.
Need.
You just get right in there. You pet the hell out of this dog. You employ all your strongest pamper techs, like the quick scritch up, the main massage, and the rare coddle brand X, Doge Smite. Somewhere in the distance, a bluebird observes your masterful display and chirps happily. But suddenly, Beck's head snaps up and he points his snout in the direction of the temple. Whoa 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 there buddy. Now's no time to be thinking about Jade. Now is belly scritch's time. You start rubbing Beck's stomach and he flops onto his back with his tail wagging and his feet curled up. Who's a good boy? Beck looks up at you, and you see the cosmos reflected in his deep, piercing eyes, and you understand. He's a good boy, and he knows it. After a while longer spent threading your fingers through his silky fur, Beck curls up beside you and yawns, starting to nod off. You kiss him on the forehead and then take the opportunity to slowly stand up and exit the room, letting the sleeping dog lie. You're a little worried about alerting Beck by using your powers. He seems to be pretty keyed into that kind of space-time manipulation, so you just take the long route to the temple. Jade's Island is a very beautiful place, with rolling hills and lush, sun-bathed plains. It looks like an excellent vacation destination, but it is also so bare.
And also, we just see the sky here.
There is nothing and nobody around except for the hollow whispers of the wind. You can see how this place would feel much less like paradise after years spent stranded here. When you reach the lake surrounding the temple, you see that the giant lilypads outside have arranged themselves into a walkway that you can reach it. How strange and convenient.
That you can use it to reach it? That you can use to reach it, I think they meant? Weird.
You channel your inner frog and hop across. Garden Gnostic, hey. Garden Gnostic, up here.
That is exactly how I would pronounce that with, exclamation points where they are.
Jade calls down to you. She's at the temple entrance far above your head, waving down at you. Grooves carved into the wall form a ladder then you can use to climb up, and soon you are standing beside her at the entrance to the temple.
From a ladder that you can use to climb up or whatever.
A huge, imposing archway marks the ingress between the sunny island and the dark interior of the ruin. From within, you can see a faint yellow-green glow that seems to come from runes carved into the walls. Spooky. As you proceed through the entryway, Jade runs a hand alongside the glowing walls, her face bathed in the sickly green. At the end of the hallway is a large, round platform decorated with cloudy designs and a glowing orb at the center. It doesn't pique your interior decorator, but Jade seems quite awed by the sight. Garden Gnostic, this is Skya. Garden Gnostic, I knew this temple had to be connected to that world in some way. Jade rushes onto the platform and it begins to descend. You quickly follow her before you're left behind, as the elevator takes you down to an expansive and dark room below. Much like the rest of the temple, the space seems very sparse, and it is illuminated by the faint glow of the runes on the walls. A large purple lotus flower rests atop a pedestal in front of the elevator, petals wilted. There is an electronic display built into the pedestal, with a timer that could feasibly count down for millions of years. But it seems to be glitched, stuck a few hours away from zero with the seconds digit constantly ratcheting back and forth between two numbers.
Yep, because you mess up the timeline, so it's kind of stuck there. They get into this, about halfway through the original comic, and I forget exactly what the significance of this is. There's a lot of weird gimmicks and McGuffs, but can't keep them all straight.
Jade places a hand on the pedestal and sighs. Garden Gnostic, the number is stuck.
And 413 is a big number in Homestuck lore. I think it originally came out on 413, so that's why I keep kind of re-referring to it.
Garden Gnostic, I think this is a time capsule, but it's malfunctioning for some reason. Garden Gnostic, was I supposed to open it when the time was right? Now we'll never know. Garden Gnostic, what else could this place be hiding from me? As if on cue, the elevator platform shudders and begins to rise behind you. As the platform ascends, it becomes clear that there is a pit beneath it, which is basically video game logic 101. Jade looks down into it, and you follow suit and see. Garden Gnostic, transportalizers, there's two of them, one a deep purple and the other a brilliant gold. Jade leaps down into the pit, which is a pretty brave maneuver, because it's deep as hell and real life still has fall damage. She grunts and sinks to her knees from the impact, but quickly recovers and rushes over to the golden transportalizer. She examines it for a moment, and then clambers on with a soft click. The pressure plate is depressed and the device surges to life. She disappears in a bright flash of light. Well, shit. You'd better follow her. You hop down and step onto the transportalizer, and the same flash of light consumes your body.
That was not me at the end of Transportalizer. That was the self-voicing. Don't know what it was doing right there. Let's see if it plays it again.
Previous close. You hop down and step onto the transportalizer, and the same flash of light consumes your body.
Yeah, see? Weird.
You feel something like wind whipping around you as your molecules are dematerialized and then reassembled in a new locale, a glimmering golden palace. Wow. This place is way too fucking bright. Someone needs to crank the saturation down, pronto. Garden Gnostic, I don't believe it. Jade is looking around with wide eyes that reflect your golden surroundings. Garden Gnostic, this is it. This is Perspe, the planet I visit in my dreams. Garden Gnostic, I didn't think it was possible to get here like this. Garden Gnostic, what does it mean? Why am I allowed to be here right now? Garden Gnostic, I should go talk to the Queen. And with that, She's off sprinting down the halls with a renewed sense of vigor. You scramble to keep up with her, threading your way through crowds of confused white-shelled folks in fancy outfits. They kind of remind you of yourself, but with chitinous bodies. You sidestep a lady carrying a paint can and shuffle down a lengthy golden staircase adorned with regal golden spikes, and you can only barely keep your eyes on Jade's long black hair as it swishes behind her.
I think that lady with the paint can is someone from Homesick.
When you finally catch up, she's in the middle of an argument with two burly fellows in white suits. She stamps her foot at them, but they are undeterred, blocking her passage further. Eventually, Jade wheels around to look at you. She tries to soften her expression for your sake, but her face is still sour. Garden Gnostic, yug.
Yug.
Garden Gnostic, the guards won't let me see the queen. Garden Gnostic, apparently she's really busy with something. They told me I'm not supposed to be here and that I have to leave right away. Garden Gnostic, this is totally bull. I'm a princess. I swear some of these idiots can't even recognize me without the pretty golden dress. Garden Gnostic, I guess I'm not getting any answers here either. Let's just get out of here. And she's off again, this time striding forward with her fists curled and her jaw set. You glance back at the guards, whose furrowed brows strike you more as worry than ire, and then follow Jade back. You're almost to the exit when you see it, a dark figure silhouetted against sky as brilliant blue. They are humanoid in shape, with two leathery wings outstretched and inky black tendrils trailing behind.
Uh-oh.
Crimson force crackles in their wake, and they swoop over the city like a bird of prey. Something about them gives you a major case of the heebie-jeebies. You do a nervous little half-jog back to the transportalizer and get the hell out of Dodge.
Should be a capital D on Dodge. It's a reference, say, a proper noun, but whatever.
The temple feels oppressively dark compared to the blinding bright of Perspe. You spend a while blinking as your eyes readjust. The transportalizer you just used flares up red, and then cracks. That's probably not a good sign, is it? You do what you do best, ignore it and climb out of the pit. Jade is standing beside the Lotus contraption, running her hand along one of the pedals with her face set. Garden Gnostic, what does all of it mean? Garden Gnostic, was this here all along? Has my grandpa been to Perspe before? Garden Gnostic, if I can go there then it must still exist, the game must still exist, but how? Garden Gnostic, none of it makes any sense. Garden Gnostic, I need to think about this. You follow Jade slowly back to her house as she mumbles to herself, brows furrowed. You can barely catch what she's saying, but she's clearly thinking hard. Garden Gnostic, the clouds have never been wrong before. Garden Gnostic, is it too early? Was this meant to happen? Once you reach the atrium, Jade lets out a sharp breath and nods her head, resolute. She turns, Garden Gnostic, all right, I think I understand. Garden Gnostic, I know what's going on now. Great. You offer her your most winning smile. What's the sitch? Garden Gnostic, well, the truth is I was always being very immature about the idea of being a hero and having a destiny. Life isn't like in kids' cartoons after all. Garden Gnostic, heroism isn't all rainbows and sunshine, and it's childish to think that everyone gets a happy ending. That kind of storybook stuff doesn't really exist. Garden Gnostic, to be a real hero you have to be prepared to suffer horribly. Garden Gnostic, it makes sense when you think about it. If everything came easy there wouldn't actually be anything heroic about it. Garden Gnostic, why else would my grandpa have put me on this island? Why else would Beck want to keep me safe here even now that everything's changed? Garden Gnostic, it's because it's my destiny. Garden Gnostic, I have to prove that I'm willing to suffer and willing to sacrifice, that has to be it. Garden Gnostic, this can't all have been for nothing, right? That's not the way the world works, Everything has a purpose even if it's not clear at first. Garden Gnostic, seeing Perspe in the flesh reminded me of that. Garden Gnostic, my purpose is to do what I've always done, what my grandpa and Beck have helped prepare me for. Garden Gnostic, I know it'll be really lonely. Garden Gnostic, but in the end it means that everything will continue to play out the way it is meant to. Garden Gnostic, it's a very noble job and I've got to be the one to do it. You're at a loss for words. This really doesn't feel like the right takeaway from all this, but you don't know jack about Spurb or destiny or any of that nonsense, so who are you to say otherwise? Garden Gnostic, so thank you for helping me visit Perspe. Garden Gnostic, I wouldn't have figured this all out if not for you, and I'm sure that meeting me is one step along the way towards your mysterious fate as well. Garden Gnostic, I will be rooting for you. Jade erupts into a broad, beaming smile. It might be the first completely genuine smile you've seen from her this entire time, but that doesn't make you feel any better about it. In fact, it's more of a knife twisting in your gut, and when she throws her arms around you and hugs you tight, the knife pushes deeper to the bone. Garden Gnostic, well, you probably have more important stuff to do than keep hanging out with me. Garden Gnostic, I'll let you get back to it. Jade turns around and heads for the staircase, leaving you to stare at her retreating form. Is this it? Will you accept the new destiny you've written for Jade and allow her to stay trapped here on this island? Is this it? Save, cloak is, accept. Wow. Huh. You're kind of a huge jerk, aren't you? Or maybe, the narrative is a huge jerk. Is what you would say, but now you're practically in charge of the narrative, so yeah, it's basically just you.
Wow, we are a jerk.
But Jade seems happy enough with her lot in life. Maybe she's better off this way, instead of whatever danger she would have gotten caught up in had she played Spurb? Yeah. You just keep telling yourself that.
The important heroic end. Yeah, it's not a bad end at all. There's a nice image of the area where she is. There's the temple we went to. There's her tower over there. There's a volcano over there that becomes important.
Image
Luda.
Is that do not accept. Some people might take this as a lesson in the responsible use of reality-altering powers. Some people might swear off manipulating canon entirely. But not you. What's the point of having sick-ass powers at all if you never use them? Maybe some god is going to punish you for the way you've been fucking with the universe, but right now you don't care. This girl would burn herself to ashes to keep her friends warm. The least you can do is risk the flame for her sake. You quickly sprint up the stairs. Garden Gnostic, oh. You're not leaving. Garden Gnostic, don't you have places to be?
That window becomes important too. That's actually like another portal type device, but that doesn't become important until much later in the whole thing. And also it didn't have her play in her base. It's something she does in the thing.
Garden Gnostic, I will be fine here alone, I promise. It's my duty. I'll get used to it eventually. You can't imagine she's okay with that, no matter what she says. Does she really want to stay alone for the rest of her life? Garden Gnostic, well, of course not. What I want to do is explore the world and hang out with all my pals. Garden Gnostic, but it's not about what I want. Garden Gnostic, it's about doing what has to be done. That's what it has always been about for me. Well, that's bullshit. Garden Gnostic, huh. Maybe Jade's fate dictates she never play the game she wanted to play. Maybe heroes don't get a happy ending. But that doesn't mean heroes can't be happy. There comes a time in every young woman's life, you tell Jade, where she can't leave home because her pet is an overprotective god. Garden Gnostic.
Doesn't even try to pronounce the question marks there.
Okay, that's obviously not true. But there comes a time in many young women's lives where circumstances beyond their control leave them without an escape.
Lives again?
Perhaps it is easier to believe that the escape will never come. But you can't let Jade do that. When life has you stuck, at home, perhaps, you can still hold on to hope. You can fight. No matter how long you have to wait, you can keep looking for another chance to see the world. And if the universe tells you to sit, stay, and roll over, you look the universe dead in the eyes and ask, who do you think is the master around here? And then you tell it to motherfucking heal. Garden Gnostic, yeah. Garden Gnostic, yeah. Garden Gnostic, you're right, even now I was still being childish. Garden Gnostic, it was easier to tell myself to be miserable for a noble cause instead of holding on to hope and maybe getting hurt again. Garden Gnostic, but I have to have hope. That's who I am. I'm a hoper, not a moper. Hee hee. Garden Gnostic, I will keep trying to convince Beck that it will be safe for me to leave the island. Garden Gnostic, things have changed and maybe he doesn't realize it yet. He's kind of a silly dumb dog at times. But he loves me and I love him and we can work it out. Garden Gnostic, maybe it'll take a while but he'll definitely figure things out. Garden Gnostic, and while I wait, you'll come visit me sometimes, won't you? Of course you will. You are not in the habit of abandoning your friends. The idea is unthinkable.
You are exactly in the habit of abandoning your friends, you idiot.
You promise Jade that you will come visit her. Come visit. Come visit. A light bulb goes off in your head. One of those cool LED bulbs, the kind that syncs up to your phone and changes colors and spies on you for the government.
Gosh dang, you have mint.
Party time.
Okay.
You ask Jade if she's ever had a slumber party. Garden Gnostic, a slumber party? Garden Gnostic, no, I've never had one. It sounds exciting, but is it really a party if there's just two people and a dog? Garden Gnostic, that sounds more like a mild slumber hangout //.
:/.
Don't worry about it, you tell her. Just start getting the place ready for a bash. Pull out the sleeping bags, conjure up some lightly irradiated snacks, pump up the fresh jams, etc. etc. Garden Gnostic, I don't know if we even have sleeping bags, but okay, I'll see what I can do. Maybe there's something useful in my grandpa's old supplies. You shoot her a confident salute, and then dissolve into the ether of canon. Alright Egbert, up and at it's party time. John yelps and tumbles out of his chair, crashing to the ground in an undignified heap. It looks like he was in the middle of debugging some code on his computer when you interrupted him. He disentangles his limbs and stands up with a groan. Ectobiologist, okay, magic mailman, we need to get some things straight. Ectobiologist, your powers are extremely cool, but using them like this is kind of lame.
Lame? Lame. Oh my god. The reader is pretty stupid.
Ectobiologist, jump scares rank very low on the prank scale. They don't take any effort, they are just sort of mean and annoying. You apologize for scaring John. You're just in a very excited mood right now, because it's time for a fucking slumber party. Ectobiologist, oh cool. I've never been to a slumber party before. Ectobiologist, who is it with? You grin. Don't you already know who with, John? Ectobiologist, HM. The American Association of Mailmen? You give him a blank stare. Ectobiologist, oh, right. Probably my other friends, hee hee. That one should have been obvious. There you go, John. You tell him to pack up whatever supplies he thinks he should bring, and then get ready for another whirlwind ride through space-time. Ectobiologist, I don't know. I should probably do the responsible thing and let my dad know I am going on a trip. Even if I will be back soon. Okay, that's fine, you tell him. But don't take too much time. This route's already getting pretty long. Ectobiologist.
It is kind of
cool.
long.
Okay, what should I bring? Ectobiologist. Oh. I need to grab some movies, definitely. Ectobiologist, Dave will be there, right? I should bring some McConaughey movies, so he realizes I was right all along about Matthew's stellar acting. Ectobiologist, oh, and of course some snacks. Ectobiologist, this is a great time for me to unload all the excess birthday cakes my dad made me. Seriously, there are hundreds of them in the fridge. It is highly ridiculous. You wait patiently in John's room as he goes downstairs to fetch his bounty of cakes, talk to his dad, and do all of his other preparation. It takes forever. You're not really sure what he's doing down there. You think he might be walking around, examining all of the objects in his home in great detail, and solving a bunch of puzzles. Come on, John. That's not the right genre of game. Get your shit together. Ectobiologist, okay.
It's more in line with
Ready.
what the comic, tried to do, but whatever.
Alright. Step 2 is to go get Rose. You take John's hand and zap the two of you into Rose's mansion. John spends a while goggling at the giant statue of Zazarpan the Learned.
Goggling? Doesn't mean ogling, but whatever.
Then, you ascend the staircase towards Rose's room and knock on the door. Her voice comes from within, slightly muffled. Tentacle therapist, you're home early. Tentacle therapist, I've been hearing strange noises from the neighboring lab of late. Rose opens the door and freezes. Tentacle therapist. John. Her eyes widen and she slowly steps backwards, which John takes as an invitation to stride into her room. Her cheeks darken and she scans the room, eyes flicking from mess to mess. Ectobiologist, surprise, Rose. Ectobiologist, we are here to steal you away, like the owl who kidnaps Harry Potter.
Was that even out at that point? I suppose it was.
Tentacle therapist, that's not. She sighs and turns to you. Tentacle therapist, care to explain the sudden intrusion? Tentacle therapist, it is normally considered polite to call ahead, especially when one is possessed of reality-bending powers. Ectobiologist, oh, don't be melodramatic. There's probably nothing too embarrassing in this room. John furrows his brow as he glances around the room, eyes sweeping over the walls. He eventually settles on some pictures that have been hung up. Ectobiologist, look at these great drawings. Did you do those? That is so cool, I didn't know you drew stuff. Rose gives him the smile of a girl whose soul has just shriveled into a blackened husk. Tentacle therapist, again, an explanation would be nice. You explain that you've come to collect Jade's friends for a slumber party. Tentacle therapist, I see. Tentacle therapist, the commercial and critical failure of Spurb must have impacted her more strongly than I anticipated. Tentacle therapist, she was really looking forward to playing that game with us. Yeah, that's, putting it lightly, probably. Tentacle therapist, I would hate to disappoint her further. Tentacle therapist. Rose gives you a curt nod, and then turns to frown at John, who is poking around under her bed. Something tugs at the corner of her mouth. Tentacle therapist, John. Tentacle therapist, my mother is busy and will not be expected to return for a while. Tentacle therapist, why don't you and our strange friend go analyze her room instead? Tentacle therapist, I need time to pack. Ectobiologist, oh, okay Rose. Whatever you say. Rose shoves you out of the room with more strength than you expected from a 13-year-old girl and shuts the door hard. Ectobiologist, man, I hope Rose realizes that I was being serious when I said her drawings were good. Ectobiologist, we tease each other a lot, but she's really cool. John speaking loudly enough that Rose can almost certainly hear him from the other side of the door. You think he knows that? But you don't say anything, except to casually suggest that you and John go wait downstairs and admire all the ridiculous wizard art. Ectobiologist, God, this house is so weird. Who needs a giant statue of a wizard? Where did they even get this? Ectobiologist, oh, and speaking of weird. I didn't want to bring this up with Rose in case it's just some funny story I'm not in on, but, what's with all the writing on her? But John trails off as Rose descends the stairs with a neatly packed bag. Tentacle therapist, shall we? We shall, you say. With a hand on each of their shoulders, you close your eyes and concentrate on the Strider apartment. You're aiming for the hallway outside the front door, but this power is still taking some getting used to, so you instead pop into existence right on top of Dave's bed. He's tapping away at something on his computer, and as soon as you appear, his entire body tenses up. You've barely had a moment to react before Dave wheels around in his chair and flings a handful of shurikens at you. One of them grazes Rose's cheek so closely, a strand of pale hair flutters to the ground.
Uh-oh.
She turns to look at the weapon now embedded in the wall and runs a finger along the edge of the blade, squinting. Turntech Godhead, oh Jesus shit. Turntech Godhead, what the fuck man? Surprise. Turntech Godhead, okay, rule 1 of time travel or dimension hopping, don't fucking pull this kind of shit. Turntech Godhead, I mean seriously. Turntech Godhead, under any other circumstances I'd be shitting my fucking nuts off about the opportunity to chill with my best bro. Turntech Godhead, but dude, Turntech Godhead, you can't just drop a guy's besties into the middle of his room out of nowhere like this. Turntech Godhead, this is an extreme social faux pas, you gotta give a guy some time to prepare. Tentacle therapist, don't be melodramatic, Dave. I assure you, there is nothing present in this room that could make us think lesser of you. If Rose was scarred by that near-death experience just now, she doesn't show it. She hops off the bed and glances around. Tentacle therapist, if you left any pornography out, it will only serve to confirm the hypotheses I have already made. Ectobiologist, haha, dude. Are these selfies? Are you doing the duck face in this one? Ahahahaha, oh man. Turntech Godhead, oh for fuck's sake John. Turntech Godhead, you get a VIP all-access backstage pass and the first thing you do is insult my stuff. Turntech Godhead, like some rowdy tool at the Nickelback concert rummaging through their closets instead of doing the musical world a favor and assassinating them. Ectobiologist, well, yeah. Ectobiologist, you would do the same dude. Turntech Godhead, touché. Turntech Godhead, but anyway, aside from you getting your grubby hands all over my pristine collection of cool swords. Turntech Godhead, what the hell are you all doing here? Ectobiologist, we're having a slumber party. Are you in? Turntech Godhead, oh. Turntech Godhead, I don't know. Turntech Godhead, bro is basically always keeping tabs on me. Turntech Godhead, guy wants me to be safe enough. Turntech Godhead, or rather wants me to only be in the right kind of danger to teach me lessons about irony and being a dope-ass fucking ninja master.
Dope-ass the fucking ninja master. You meant to say?
Turntech Godhead, it's all some pretty intense supervision is the point Bane made here. Turntech Godhead, was already getting some rank vibes from him after that lil jaunt over to Olive Garden. Turntech Godhead, actually the vibes have been off ever since John's birthday if I'm being honest. Turntech Godhead, so I don't know how he'd feel about me gallivanting off on some magic snooze adventure with Slappy the time-traveling mailman. Turntech Godhead, seems like the kind of thing he'd take issue with. Ectobiologist, aw, come on. He can't be that bad. What kind of guy wouldn't let his brother go hang out with his friends? Turntech Godhead, I. Turntech Godhead, yeah I guess. Turntech Godhead, be a pretty shitty kind of guy if he did that. Turntech Godhead, wouldn't he? Dave stares off into the middle distance for a while. Rose observes him intently. Ectobiologist, look, Dave. I don't think it would feel right if we all had a big party and you weren't there. Jade would really miss you. Tentacle therapist, as would we. Ectobiologist, yeah. Dave glances furtively around the room as if he's expecting a camera to blink at him from up in one of the corners. Turntech Godhead, alright I'm in lemme grab some subs. Turntech Godhead, that's supplies for short. Turntech Godhead, hey mailman what's Jade's helldog like do I need to bring one of these cool ass swords? Ectobiologist, cool. Ectobiologist, these swords are like $5 Chinatown swords, aren't they? Turntech Godhead, what no?
It's not changing the color of the
Turntech Godhead, what no? Turntech Godhead, okay listen. While Dave grabs his stuff and John heckles him affectionately, Rose's attention has been drawn back to the shuriken Dave threw at her. You stroll over and ask her what's up. She responds with her own question. Tentacle therapist, have you been introduced to Dave's brother? Not yet. You've heard a lot about him, though. For the sake of diplomacy, you only briefly touch on the opinion you've formed. Tentacle therapist, he certainly seems like a fascinating man. The kind of individual whose brain I would love to pick apart, to find out just what twisted mechanisms fire off within its chambers. So that's what she's thinking about, Dave's bro. Rose chews on her bottom lip. Tentacle therapist, not exactly, but an adjacent topic. Tentacle therapist, I'm mulling over the ethical quandaries presented by the existence of powers esoteric. What? Tentacle therapist, it's nothing to concern yourself with yet. We have a party to attend, apparently. Right? Dave is done packing up. You open both palms and suggest that everyone hold hands so you can best channel your powers. Turntech Godhead, really? Turntech Godhead, we're holding hands. Turntech Godhead, God this is so lame. But he does it, and when he clasps John and Rose's hands he shifts around and blushes faintly in a manner that suggests he doesn't really think it's so lame. In fact, he may think it is the opposite of lame. He may think it is rad.
Lame.
And he'd be right. Friendship is the raddest thing of them all. You're full of warm and fuzzy friend feelings as you teleport back to Jade's atrium. Wait, no, that's just the feeling of your body dissolving and reconstituting itself halfway across canon. They are very similar feelings. You head to the base of the staircase, where you call out to Jade. Her guests have arrived, you tell her. Jade rushes down the stairs and nearly trips over her skirt. Her expression is tight and anxious, and when she sees your motley crew standing there she freezes up. Her breath hitches in a half sob. Garden Gnostic, you really did bring them. Garden Gnostic, they're here. Garden Gnostic, you're all here. Jade breaks into a wide grin and sprints forward, launching herself like a missile at her friends.
This is gonna all go terrible in some way. I can just feel it. Just have to wait for the whatever trigger to get sprung or whatever, and bam, off to Badsville.
Dave throws himself bodily out of the way and Rose takes an alarmed step back, leaving John to bear the full brunt of her affections. She crashes into him and the two of them go spinning around and around as Jade laughs breathily. Ectobiologist, whoa. Whoa, calm down there, Jade. It's nice to see you too, hee hee. Tears are beating in her eyes as she squeezes him tight, and then pecks his cheek with a soft kiss. Garden Gnostic, oh John, I'm so happy to see you in person. Garden Gnostic, in waking person and everything. Garden Gnostic, I've spent so much time watching you sleep. Ectobiologist, haha, what? Jade swings around to look at her other two pals. Garden Gnostic, come on, you two too. Get over here, we are having a 4x hug combo right now. Rose and Dave cautiously step forward and Jade, with John's help, yanks them both into the tight embrace. She smooches them on the cheeks, too. Rose's face lights up with a blush and Dave nearly goes catatonic. When Jade pulls back, she's clutching John's hand and tugging so hard she might pull the damn thing off.
I'm gonna take a screenshot right here.
Self-voicing disabled.
Bam! There we go.
Self-voicing
I
enabled.
can use this shot
Rose and
for,
Dave cautiously step. Garden Gnostic, come on everyone, let's go upstairs. I found a bunch of military-grade sleeping bags in Grandpa's old adventuring gear and set them up in my room. Garden Gnostic, we can play with all my toys and jam out to some music and stay up all night chatting with each other, and oh my god, you're here, you're all here, this is really happening. Jade's next laugh verges on hysterical and she's got tears streaked down her cheeks. Dave looks a little perturbed. Turntech Godhead, wow, holy shit, Turntech Godhead, it's cool Jade, no need to get so. Turntech Godhead, like this. Turntech Godhead, kind of fucks me up seeing you cry. Turntech Godhead, not that I'm trying to make this all about me. Turntech Godhead, I mean Tentacle Therapist, Dave, you're doing a horrible job of comforting her. Tentacle Therapist, Jade, come here. I shall hold you in my arms. Rose walks over to Jade, extends her thumbs, and swipes them down Jade's teary cheeks in a stiff, mechanical motion. Then, she wraps her arms around Jade in an embrace that could generously be called a hug but looks more like the precursor to an alien medical examination.
Funny thing about there is she ends up hugging an alien, a certain alien.
John boggles at the display. Ectobiologist, none of you whack jobs know how to do this, oh my god. Ectobiologist, come here, Jade. Garden Gnostic, hey thank you John. Garden Gnostic, now come on everyone, let's go.
Look, did this just turn into someone's fanfic? Where it's like, oh my god, they're gonna get them all together, and they're all gonna have like a hug off? And it's gonna be, oh my... I mean, that's kind of, what I expected picking this up, but just so, like, on its face-edness is kind of throwing me out there.
And so the party begins. Tales told, movies watched, and fun had aplenty. So many shenanigans happen. So many. Perhaps someday you will recount them all in detail. But before you know it, the energy in the room has fled alongside the sunlight. The moon and stars cast their pale gaze upon four supine friends, bundled up in sleeping bags and caught midway between slumber and wakefulness. Dave is rambling about some inane bullshit that nobody's paying attention to, and Rose is attempting, quite terribly, to lecture John and Jade on the modern reinterpretation of Lovecraft's works. You think it's about time you bowed out? It's not that you haven't enjoyed chumming it up with these kids, but you'd feel kind of weird sticking around overnight. You can come back later. Besides, you've got places to go and sights to see. There's an entire golden moon out there full of potential friends that you knew nothing about before today. The universe beckons, and you are powerless to refuse.
Powerless to refuse is kind of different.
You give Beck a little nod, like, hey, take care of these kids. Beck doesn't nod back, because he's a dog. But you like to think he understands. As you quietly slip down the staircase and out of sight, you spare one last glance at the group and find a sigh escaping your lips. Everything that's happened here feels almost too good to be true. Can it last?
Nope.
Can this brazen wish fulfillment go unpunished?
Nope, it cannot.
You find that hard to imagine. There is something fate touched about these kids, you can feel it in your bones. As surely as the wind whispers through the trees or the stars dance through space, as surely as the turning clocks will call the sunlight back again, these kids will never be free of the bullshit that hounds them. But right here, right now, they are at peace. They have shared this one perfect moment together, and perhaps in the future there will come more betwixt the chaos. And maybe that's enough.
Bam! Victory! And look at that. He's drawing her furry art. Fantastic. So that is the end of the main characters right there. I wonder what they're going to get into next. Probably going to start getting into the... I think they're going to get into the Alternian Trolls next. But they could get into the... Well, technically the Alpha Kids. These are the Beta Kids, if I remember right. Even though these are the first ones you run into. But, yeah, that's just how they numbered it. But anyway, so that is Pesterquest. Volumes
Image GUI/title _ not self-voicing disabled.
There we go. So, yeah, that is volume 3 and 4. So, I'll have to keep checking for when the next ones come out. Maybe the next one will probably just be like one volume. I think they're just releasing these in single volumes. I just did 2 volumes today because I kind of missed... Dave's coming out. Like I said earlier, for Hive Swap Friend Sim, they just released the free version, then just like $2 DLC updates when they came out. So you could be, it was pretty easy to check when they were coming out. But this one, it's like you actually have to check for updates and all that, which is sure, whatever. It's a little. You don't get as well, I guess you could just open up the game and see, okay, is there a new one in there? But you can't really check from the Steam page that there's a new one up there. But whatever. Minor complaint. First world problems. Anyway, we will get into the next ones later when it gets into that. So, till next time, later. Let's check out the chum roll. What? I already befriended them. Is it because I think it's because I went back and tried all of the options and the one I ended on wasn't the correct one or something? Oh, whatever. Till next time, later.